Hello everyone, we're continuing on today with our look at what happened in the first few days of free agency. Today we're looking at the Metro Division and seeing how the Metro Division shaped up after the past couple of days. We'll get to all of that coming up right now. Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here at the Internet Talking channel. Before we begin this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe down below. Thank you for your support. We're never able to have you guys, so if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below and hopefully leave a comment down in the comment section below so you can also listen to this video. Now, we got an interesting thing to do here today. We're looking at the Metro Division. We're going to look at what happened over the first 3 days of free agency, so July 1st or June 30th if there's a couple of signings there, to July 3rd. So if you go look at the Carolina Hurricanes, they did a couple of things over the past few days. So on the 30th, they made one small trade, and that was moving the signing rights of Jake Guentzel to Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for a third-round pick in 2025. Not too bad of a move there for that team that wasn't going to sign Guentzel anymore, so they got something back for him. Then on July 1st, they made 7 signings. So first was an extension. They wound up extending Jaccob Slavin, entering the final year of his deal on a really good deal, 8 years at $6.39 million. That was a fantastic deal, in my opinion, for Slavin. Just a hair under 6.4 for Slavin, who I think on most teams would be a $7.5 million player, is fantastic for the Hurricanes. So that's a pretty good pickup there for Carolina. Then you have Jordan Martinook, who wound up extending in Carolina 3-year deal with AV of $3.05 million. Pretty good pickup there for the Hurricanes to keep Martinook around. They sent a couple of bottom 6 forwards in Tyson Jost and Eric Robinson. Robinson 1 year at $950,000, Jost 1 year at league minimum. Both are really good fourth line spare forwards, so that's pretty good pickups there for the Hurricanes. They also bring in Sean Walker and Shane Gostisbehere to replace the holes left by Brett Pesce and Brady Shea. Walker gets a 5-year deal with AV of $3.6 million. Gostisbehere gets a 3-year deal with AV of $3.2 million. So interesting stuff there, but some interesting signings there for the Hurricanes to get a new top 4D and Gostisbehere and Walker. Then they also bring in Will Carrier from Vegas. He gets a 6-year deal with AV of $2 million. So that's a pretty good sign there for the Hurricanes. And then they also bring in Riley Stillman, a 1-year deal at league minimum to sort of help round out that bottom end of the defense, of course. So all in all, some decent additions there. They keep around Martinook. They add some defensemen help in Gostisbehere, Carrier, and Stillman. They also add some more depth players in Jost and Robinson. They extend Slavin. So all in all, I think it was a pretty decent free agency period from the Hurricanes. But I mean, they lost Teravainen, they lost Shea, they lost Pesce, they lost D'Angelo, they lost Noesen. I mean, they lost a lot of people, and HS's future still up to debate. So I think this Hurricanes team, as much as they got some really good pieces, with guys like Gostisbehere and Walker and Carrier, did take a really big step back, and they wouldn't be over surprised if they failed a little bit this year. So interesting stuff there. Going over to the Columbus Blue Jackets, they did not make a whole bunch of moves, made 3 signings on July 1st, giving an ELC to Cole Clayton, who gets a 1-year deal with AV of $810,000. They signed Cole Sillinger's brother, who's been playing in the AHL, Owen Sillinger, to a 1-year deal with AV of a league minimum deal. Not too surprised there. He's going to be an AHL player for them. And then the big signing on July 1st was Sean Monahan, signing him to a 5-year deal with AV of $5.5 million. That's a little bit of an overpayment in my opinion, but Monahan's a really good second, third line center and should work out really well in Columbus. And then on July 2nd, they signed 2 players. Jack Johnson, 1-year league minimum, should be able to work out well. It's like a solid 6th, 7th defenseman for the Jackets. And then they also bring in Dylan Gambrell on a 1-year deal, league minimum. Should be a solid call-up option there for the Jackets. So not too much there. I don't really love what the Jackets have done so far, but also don't really hate it. I mean, they're trying to change up some things. I think Monahan should be a really good middle 6 forward, and I think this team just needs to continue to have the youth take over. So in my opinion, they did all right, but I'm not going to say they definitely got better. Going over to New Jersey Devils, they made one small move on June 30th. They acquired Jonathan Kovacevic from the Canadiens in exchange for a 2026 4th rounder. It was a pretty good pickup there for the Devils to get Kovacevic to help round out that blue line. Then on July 1st, they made a handful of signings. They wound up acquiring Brett Pesce and Brendan Dillon in free agency. Brett Pesce gets a 6-year deal with AV of $5.5 million. Dillon, a 3-year deal with AV of $4 million. Both are really good defensemen. Pesce more of a second liner, Dillon more of a third liner, but they should be able to help out round out that D pair now. They also get Mike Hardman, who gets a 2-year deal, league minimum, solid call-up option. They get Carlton White, a defenseman, a 2-year deal, league minimum, should be a call-up option. And then they also get Stefan Noesen, 3-year deal, $2.75 million, should be able to be a really good 3rd, maybe 4th line forward. That's a really good pickup there for the Devils. And then the day later, on July 2nd, they signed Tomas Tatar, 1-year deal with AV of $1.8 million to go back to New Jersey. So in my opinion, the Devils have improved tremendously. I mean, if you include the Markstrom trade, in which they got Jacob Markstrom, now added Kovacevic as like a 7th defenseman, they added Dillon, and they added Pesce to help round out that D-core, add some more forward help with guys like Noesen and Tatar. This Devils team looks fantastic. As long as they stay healthy, I would not be surprised if they're one of the top teams in the Metro next year. So a really good pickup there for the Devils. Going over to the New York Islanders, they also didn't make too many moves. July 1st, they made 2 moves. They signed Mike Riley to a 1-year deal with the AV of $1.25 million. Keep him around. He was a solid third-pair defenseman for that team, so solid to keep him around. They also bring in Anthony Duclair, 4-year deal, $3.5 million AAV. Not the huge big fish I was expecting for the Islanders, but I think Duclair could put up 20 to 25 goals in an Islanders team who could use some more goal scoring. I think that's a pretty good pickup there for New York. And then on July 2nd, they make a couple of signings, both 1-year league minimum deals. Sam Frederick Karlstrom should be a depth addition, call-up option there for the Islanders. And they also signed Mark Gedicombe, who should be an NHL player. So interesting stuff for the Islanders. I'm not going to say they completely lost because they definitely made some smart additions, but I'm not sure if they really can say that they got completely 100% better. So interesting things there for the Islanders, but over the first 3 years of free agency, not a whole bunch of movement there for signing Duclair. We go over to New York Rangers. Once again, didn't really do much. July 1st, they brought in Sam Carrick, 3-year deal, $1 million AAV, solid fourth line center, should work in the bottom 6. That's a pretty good pickup there for the Rangers. July 2nd, they bring in Casey Fitzgerald and Olivier Giroux. Giroux gets a 1-year league minimum deal. Fitzgerald gets a 2-year deal with the AAV of $725,000. Both are going to be call-up options. Giroux in the forward group, Fitzgerald in the defensive end, so interesting stuff there. But those were all the signings. They made one trade. It was a decent trade too. They got Riley Smith at 75% of his contract from the Pittsburgh Penguins in exchange for a 2025 5th-round pick and a 2027 2nd-round pick. So a couple of picks they had to give up, but Smith is going to help that top 6 really much, especially with the loss of guys like Wenberg and Roslovic. So in my opinion, it's a decent additions there for the Rangers. I mean, they didn't really give up much. They haven't traded Trouba at this point, and I think they did some alright things in this year's free agency class. I mean, they helped their forward group with Smith and Carrick, and I think they did alright. So some interesting stuff there for the Rangers, but I think they did alright. Not sure if they would get 100% better, but they definitely did some more things to get them better. Then for Philadelphia, they made 3 signings on July 1st. They gave Matvei Michkov as ELC, 3-year deal, $950,000. Pretty good things there for Philadelphia to get Michkov under contract. He should be in the NHL next year. They also bring back Eric Johnson, 1-year, one-way, $1 million deal. Worked out really well as like a third-pair defenseman. Should continue to be a solid 6th, 7th D for Philadelphia next year. They extended Garnet Hathaway, who was entering the final year of his deal, 2-year deal, $2.4 million AAV. Hathaway's a pretty good physical bottom 6 forward, so it's a pretty good solid sign there for the Flyers. They also bring in Anthony Richard, who gets a 2-year deal with a league minimum to be a solid call-up option on the forward group, and they re-signed Bobby Brink on a 2-year deal with AAV of $1.5 million. So interesting signings there for the Flyers. They bring back Brink, they extend Hathaway, so interesting stuff there. They give Michkov an ELC, sign Johnson to extension. So after buying out Atkinson, I think this team got worse for sure. I think they made some decent moves in free agency, but they definitely got worse in my opinion. So interesting stuff there for the Flyers. And then going over to the Pittsburgh Penguins, they made a couple of moves. First, on June 30th, they made a prospect swap acquiring Ben MacArthur from the Tampa Bay Lightning in exchange for Michkov. So interesting stuff there for the Penguins. July 1st, they made 9 signings. So lots of signings there. Most of them were depth players. They brought back Ryan Shannon on 1-year league minimum deal. He was a solid call-up option on the defensive end. They brought in Imama on the forward group as well as Huntington, both 1-year league minimum deals. Should be AHL players, potential call-up options. They brought in Nathan Clermont on the defensive end, 1-year league minimum deal. Should be an AHL player, but potentially a call-up option. And they brought in Matt Caldwell, 1-year league minimum deal. Could be a call-up option for them, so interesting stuff there. But they also signed a couple of other guys, including bringing in Anthony Beauvillier, 1-year, $1.25 million deal. Beauvillier should be a really good player there for the Penguins in their bottom 6. They bring back Emil Bemstrom, 1-year league minimum deal. He worked out really well in the bottom 6 because he can be a solid 13th, 14th forward there for the Penguins this year. They bring in Blake Lizotte, 2-year deal, AV of $1.85 million, solid 4th line center, so he should be able to replace Jeff Carsley at the 4th line center, so pretty good pickup there for the Penguins. And they also bring in Matt Grzelyck, left shot defenseman, 1-year, $2.75 million deal. He should be able to replace Pierre-Olivier Joseph as a solid third-pair defenseman, so interesting stuff there for the Penguins. And then on July 2nd, they bring in Sebastian Aho, a solid third-pair defenseman as well, 2-year deal minimum. Pretty good pickup there for the Penguins to add some more depth to their blue line. So all in all, not too bad of an offseason for the Penguins. I mean, include them adding Hayes. They move on from Riley Smith, which we just talked about with the Rangers. So they moved on from Riley Smith, added Kevin Hayes. They move on from a couple of pending UFAs, add guys like Aho, Beauvillier, Lizotte, Grzelyck, Bemstrom. So I'm not going to say they had an atrocious offseason because they didn't. It was actually a pretty good offseason, but I'm not going to say they are huge winners. I do think they might have improved a little bit, but I'm not going to say they are huge winners because they didn't really do a whole bunch of huge things. They just added some more depth pieces. So interesting stuff there for the Penguins, but I definitely do think they improved at least a little bit. And going over to Washington Capitals, who are another team who I think would definitely has won the free agency period. So go back to June 30th, they wound up signing Ethan Frank, 2-year deal, league minimum. Solid depth addition there for the Capitals. Then on July 1st, they signed a handful of players. They brought back Mitchell Gibson and Chase Prisky, both on 1-year league minimum deals. Prisky a defenseman, Gibson a goaltender, should play in the AHL and be call-up options. Then they signed a couple of other guys. They extended Connor McMichael, 2-year deal, $2.1 million AAV. Pretty good solid sign there for the Caps. Then they bring in Taylor Raddysh on a 1-year, $1 million deal after he wasn't qualified by the Chicago. Pretty good solid bomb sticks forward. They sent Brendan Duhaime, 2-year deal, $1.85 million deal. Had a pretty good season over in Minnesota and Colorado. He should be a solid bomb sticks forward. They add Matt Roy, who's on the defensive end, who's a really good defender. 6-year deal, $5.75 million AAV. He looks like a pretty good deal. Luke Phillip, then they bring in on July 2nd, as well as Spencer Smallman, 2 AHL forwards, a 1-year league minimum deal, who could be call-up options. They then bring in Riley Suter and Hardy Hartman Octel, who are both RFAs, 1-year league minimum deals, who should remain in the AHL. So interesting stuff there for the Caps as they make some interesting moves, but I think they have to be one of the winners of this thing. And they did make one move on July 1st too, I forgot to mention. They acquired Jacob Chychrun from the Ottawa Senators in exchange for Nick Jensen in the 2025 third-round pick. So all in all, pretty good for the Caps. I have to call them a winner because they were able to add Mangiapane and Dubois earlier in the year on top of adding Raddysh and Duhaime. They add Chychrun on the blue line. They add Roy on the blue line, sort of round out that defensive group. They bring in Thompson a little while ago at the draft to sort of help round out that goaltending tandem with Lindgren. All in all, the Capitals are one of the best winners, in my opinion, for this free agency period. And over the first 2 years, are one of the best teams, in my opinion. So just to recap here, I think the Canes got a little bit worse. I know they made some really good additions with Walker and Gostisbehere, but they definitely did get a little bit worse, in my opinion. The Jackets didn't really do much. I wouldn't call themselves winners or losers. They added Monahan, which I think was a decent one, maybe a bit of an overpayment. But besides that, they really didn't do anything. So I'm not sure exactly what to call the Jackets at this point in time. The Devils will definitely stay winners, adding Dillon, adding Pesce earlier in the year, adding Markstrom. I think they're definitely winners at this point in time. The Islanders, once again, sort of like the Jackets, didn't really do much. Added Duclair. I guess they can call themselves small winners to add some more goal scoring to the team, but that's all I could say for the Islanders. Rangers, same sort of thing. Add a couple pieces on the forward group with Smith and Carrick, but not a whole bunch of additions there for the Rangers, so can't really say they won or lost. Probably lost a little bit given the fact of all their subtractions, but still interesting stuff there. For the Flyers, same sort of thing. I think they did get a little bit worse. They didn't really bring in anything and lost guys like Atkinson, and they could still trade a couple of players too, so I think they definitely got a little bit worse. Penguins might have gotten marginally better, adding guys like Hayes, moving Riley Smith, adding guys like Grzelyck and Beauvillier and Lizotte, so they made some interesting moves this offseason. Caps are definitely winners in my books by adding guys like Dubois, Thompson, Mangiapane, Roy, Chychrun, Duhaime, Raddysh, amongst others. So interesting offseason so far from the Caps. So gotta say the Caps and Devils are two teams who I definitely think improved and might even be playoff bound next year. So we'll have to wait and see. But that's all I'm going to talk about for today. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on what you think about the Metro signings over the first 3 days of action down in the comment section below. Which teams do you think wound up winning? Which teams do you think wound up subtracting and wound up getting worse so far in free agency? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on who you think would possibly make the playoffs down in the comment section below. So I'm going to talk about for today. Remember to like this video, and if you really like to subscribe down below. Thank you for your support. We're able to help you guys. So if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe button down below. Don't forget to leave a comment down in the comment section below so you can also listen to today's video. Also a blog talking about news, rumors, analysis, stuff like that. So check that out. I'll leave a link down in the description below. I can't see you guys all for the next video. See you guys soon.